Good morning, cool cats and kittens. Give me a second here. I need something different because I don't think you guys know where cool cats and kittens comes from. Why do you watch Tiger King? Killing me. Absolutely killing me. You're going to have to listen to some technical difficulties here. Right, freaking. That's way too bright. Oh, well, that's bright. That's somewhat better. We'll just rock with this, I think. Get going here. Hey guys. All right. So the expensive camera keeps freaking dying. And the one I paid like $8 for, or $20 for, $30 for. But I don't know. So this is what we got. This is what we're gonna rock and roll with. I don't know if I want that though. Hold on. Let's see if we can go that way and get less door. How's that? Is that better or worse? I don't know. I don't know. That's what we got. So let's just deal with it. All right, let's go. The Intel news is absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge for a lot of reasons. Give me a second here to just watch something. Let's clean all this off. And then if we are to really look at what transpired, the biggest issue you had, as always, is him. So I went live yesterday. Whenever I go live, I have to change the schedule around a little bit. So I'm not able to do a video those evenings. But I always mark off the bar where he starts. And I would suggest that you do that too, and just mark that off and say, okay, well, that's where he speaks. And because that's where he speaks, then that's usually a demarcation line, right? Oh, I know what I can do. I bet you that gets rid of, oh, that helped. Good. So it was the screen. So whenever you have that, you just want to mark him off. So what we'll do is we'll just put him like right there. There we go. And so we know why that is right there. Little Jerome right there on top of that bar. There we go. And what that's going to tell us more than anything is like, that's when he spoke. And then what we do is we also mark off the reaction bar. So the reaction bar is here at 159. We close at 2. The news hits right there. And so you could just see the good afternoon bar, which people call it, was just an absolute disaster. And then when he finally wrapped up, we rallied. A lot of this had to do with him being, quote, preemptive, and his statement that I'm being preemptive. That's why I'm doing this. So I don't think that was the best thing in the world for him to say at all. I really don't, but it doesn't really matter what I think. And we have to shrink him down a little bit so he doesn't get my chart, but we're going to keep him there. So I would watch these key levels on where we rally to, and now these retests and how we're lifting through. Your obvious bottom area is going to be that 66.12. But I do think across the board, people liked what they heard there. And I think based upon that, you're seeing these things do very, very well this morning. Now, if I'm to look at this, I would think that you get some repositioning. I was very surprised that you didn't rally more on some of the interest rate names, but I think a lot of that had to do with the dot plot. And I'll get into it on Saturday's video in great detail. But for me, the most important thing about it is we got through it. They cut rates. We're in a new cycle. What we have to watch now is, are we going into a recession? And I don't think we have a real answer to that yet. But if we are to look at this, they are stair stepping you up still. So I don't really see a lot here, except that you could really hang your hat on. I think what's so fascinating to me is this is actually like a DTL. So they're actually setting you up to push, in my opinion, but you might come back and do a little backfilling. You usually touch the itchy level at least once, the good afternoon level, which is literally right there. You usually do touch that level at least once to just see, hey, how's that going? If we are to look at the RSI with it, you can kind of see what's already happening this morning, and you've already worked this off. What I find fascinating about this in particular is that as we're working this off, you're seeing one real common theme here. Let me just make sure something, because yesterday I picked up this one, it picked up this wrong mic, and I want to make sure it's not doing it now. Hold on one second. Now I got the right mic. Yay. The way you went from overbought to oversold, and this is all you dropped, is super interesting. So you never know it measures the magnitude, but you never know what they consider magnitude, right? It's all relative. So I know that sounds like a bunch of crap, but it is. So like, you really just want to watch it. And like, I could have a drop like this and drop 1%. If I drop like this and I'm dropping like 22 basis points, it usually means they don't really want out of the market. And I think that's kind of interesting, but let's watch the rotation today and see what happens. The Nvidia news is much bigger than people think it is. It's much, much bigger than people think it is. So, we'll watch that bar right there. Let's just bring him down a little bit right there. Didn't know I'd be spending this much time with Jerome today. Let's just shrink that down so we can see that bar. And we know that 2 o'clock bar, and that's when he spoke. But I think that's super important for us to get. Now, what do you got, John? Thank you. If we go and take a look at the NQ for a sec into here, and let's clean all this off. In here, and let's just drop you here. It's the same bar right here, right? This is where you had your earnings, and where is that 230s right there? So let's just mark him off again right there. And I got we can use a different Jerome here. All those different faces. I'll mark you right here. All right. So if you look at that, all we've done is come back, test that bar, test, and then we've gone from there. So it has kind of tested that area already. And if you look at these bars, it's there, you know, you always wonder if this stuff's going to hold. What you really need to do is just look at the RSI, and it'll give you a pretty clear indication of, do you have anything that is suggesting that this could hold or not? Sometimes you get something, sometimes you don't, but this definitely gave you a clear indication like, hey, this could hold. And it really right after he got done speaking, which probably doesn't do much for his ego. But overall, I don't think him coming out and saying this was preemptive was the greatest thing in the world. I truly don't. I just don't think that was like what we all wanted to hear, to be honest with you, but like at all. It's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear, hey, the data that we had, that data is not great. And we just got late data. And if we had better data, we would have done this sooner. Oh, okay, cool. Like that's what you wanted to hear, not, oh, we're being preemptive. There's nothing preemptive about what they're doing. Like not at all. And he kind of threw the tariffs under the bus again. So it is what it is. Let's look at this in regards to the Qs. This was an old call wall. Watch the 590 level. That's absolutely huge. Absolutely huge level right now, but it doesn't really look like it matters. Let me see something here and see if this changed at all for us. I don't know that it did. It may have. Oh, it did big time. Okay. So they are moving that the heck up to here. So that call wall jumped. So let's see where you're at now. And yeah, that jumped. So that's kind of interesting. You got room now to go. So that's kind of interesting. They did jump you to here. They did jump that call wall up. So they're thinking you're going to go. Well, they bought, that's for sure. That old call wall you're in right over that. That 590 has kind of been your demarcation line. I don't really need this anymore, do I? Get rid of that. I like doing this live. I think it's helpful. I'm not going to put more Jerome's in. We know where he was. We could see that right there. But yeah, that 594 is going to be a big level. Do you hold some of this pre and post stuff? I don't know. I think you have to do some kind of backfill today. I think there'll be some kind of backfill at some point today, but you know, we'll see how that goes. But this is really like your target area up here. Like I really think that's where you're going. I don't know if you're going to get there today, but you're going to get there. I mean, the amount of, you know, there is nobody buying calls, man, in this market. It's crazy. They started yesterday, but still, like, they didn't really raise the bar here at all. It's super interesting. It's very rare to do that. You know, usually you fill these, especially tomorrow is going to be super interesting. That must have been earlier that you were up here and now it's gone. So they actually lowered. I don't know, man. It's going to be a pickle today. I wonder if you're going to rotate. I wonder if that's what we're dealing with, if we're going to just rotate out of this stuff, you know?
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Give me 1 second, guys. I got to do this trade. Yeah, I'm not really crazy about that. I don't know. I'm surprised they didn't step that up. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's why I'm going silent, guys. If I don't have something to say, I won't say it. But I don't have anything to say there. All right, cool. Everybody saw the Intel news. It's absolutely huge for Intel. Like that could not be bigger news for Intel. And I can't stress that enough. Like that's really big, like really big news for them. It's really big news for all the semi-cap equipment manufacturers. Like it's really big news. So I would expect this to reflect that today. It's huge for Nvidia, and I'm fine with Nvidia not going up on it. Like I'm absolutely fine with that. So if they don't want to go up on that, that's cool. Smoke it on it. It just means more production. And I think one of the key issues you're going to have with Nvidia, from my standpoint, is and this is just like me talking out loud. I think one of the key issues that you're going to have here with Nvidia is this technically. And I'll show you what happened yesterday. And I think that's going to scare people. I think that might be part of our issue. See what's going on here? You have a 12.55 cross and the 22 is pointing down. So like, it's not a great technical pattern, but the news should be enough to really get that thing up and going. And I'm not sure that it is. It doesn't really seem it right now. So like everyone's like, oh, but you're up $5. I don't know, man. You just increase capacity utilization a lot. And I get it that it's really like people are like, oh, no, it's really Intel that benefits. Yeah, but now you can sell way more product than you were ever selling before. And I think that is really important for people to get. And I don't think they're getting that. So I find it really interesting the way that it's acting. So, I don't really even have an area there where I'm overly concerned about it. Like I don't even have like a call wall here or anything. It's all up here. But I'm very surprised by that. Other news that I thought was fascinating last night that I just don't think got enough play. I know some of the guys in the room were doing this. But this crowd, like this was really big news that they have an agentic AI that they're embedding into their product line. Like that's freaking huge. And they're the first. So the idea, I looked at this last night putting it on, but it was so thin. It just scared the bejesus out of me. And you never know what you're coming into the next day after a Fed meeting. Like you just don't know. I do think there's something to, crowd embedding this. And I think there's something also in this stuff. Like you're seeing where they're taking this stuff. Like here, watch. So like Reddit, for example, like Google and AI are trying to embed Reddit and all that information into Reddit, right? They're taking Reddit's information. They want to embed it into OpenAI and Google to create this huge database search, right? Like we're seeing this, right? All right, cool. What's so fascinating to me about that, but to me, like when I look at that, they're taking some of these pieces and they're putting the other applications within those applications. So the stuff's starting to become really layered. And if you can start understanding how they're building out that infrastructure in OpenAI, and I'm wondering if that's what you're going to start seeing here, like the layering of some of this stuff. So I'll get into it later, but I thought that was fascinating. And the Reddit did not get the love it deserved on that news yesterday. I thought that was huge news on Reddit. I really do. So I was really surprised by that's all that we really got out of that. It should have gotten a much bigger push, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes today. I'm going to take a bunch of questions. I'm just looking here on my notes and see if there's something I really want to go over. that I think is worth our time. I think some of this stuff's probably going to go a lot higher, but let's see what you do today. And we'll go from there, but we'll see how this stuff plays out. I think it's going to be pretty wild off the open, and then you just kind of want to look at it later. Tesla as well. That's a beautiful 3-bar pattern. Let's see what questions we have, and we'll go from there. I think that's a better way to spend our time. What's up? Yeah, I think you're okay with the index. I just think it's super interesting that the call wall didn't go up. And you're usually pinned to them, especially on OpEx. So you tend to pin to that level, and you're definitely below that call wall. So it's super interesting. ACMR. I mean, it looks beautiful. I totally see why that would work. XP. Let's take a look at XP. CVYO. I definitely want to look at XP. I don't know anything about them. You came right to that 55 and held. I literally don't know anything about them. They're based in the Netherlands. Is that right? No, it's not right. Great thing about these glasses, they block all the blue light. They also block the lettering. I really like that. I don't like things that do this where they fail. I don't like the failures. I'd watch the failures. I would watch those like a hawk. What's up, Julian? Intel's going to be a monster today, I think. I think Intel makes a lot of sense, honestly. It's been a long time since I actually bought Intel. It just makes so much sense if you think about it. It's a whole new revenue stream for them. It's the best company in the world that they're partnering with. Like, there's a lot of reasons, if you are an Intel shareholder, to be really happy about today's news. Do I think it's up enough to reflect it? You're not going to make money off of it for what, 6 months to a year? But the build out's going to be huge. I mean, they used to make chips here. I mean, this is where the foundries were back in the day. So it's interesting. Do I think it's going to affect Taiwan Semi? I mean, I think it will. I think it's kind of silly. Like, Taiwan Semi can't get enough capacity. So, but I think what's happening there too with Taiwan Semi is, they want to diversify. I don't really blame them for wanting to diversify. I don't really think that that's the dumbest idea in the world, getting them to diversify. I just don't think that that's stupid, but we'll have to see how this plays out this morning. I really don't think that you are going to, fall apart there. Let me just see something. Yeah. So, just watch this level right here. Seems like that's really your issue, doesn't it? So probably trade back to it. Maybe. I don't know. You seem to be holding here now, right? What else you guys got? Crowd Nvidia. I might be up there in August or October. Jesus. I might be up there in October. If I am, I'll let people know. Maybe we'll all go have like a group meeting or something. China rotating out of China back to us and to us. I don't think that they're doing that. I think that reality is going to start setting in on this stuff. And I think it's going to be freaking brutal for the people that are in it. I just think it's a matter of time. But I'm watching people take the like every single time that you see this, like every time it's like, oh no, this is really it. This is really the time to get into China. When you go from, let me get this straight. In September, we've gone from 95 to 140. Why? Because, they're going to make a chip. Okay. So, it is what it is, guys. And it ain't more than that. I look at it like, it's just, I'm foaming at the mouth, dude. Like, I don't know how to be any clearer about it. I can't wait to short these things. Like, I started yesterday just selling naked calls. Like, I literally just look at it like, man, what a gift. Just keep buying, guys, just keep buying. And you just look at it like, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, this time it's different. So, okay. And I don't know, man. I get it. I get the excitement. Cool. Good luck. Now, some of these other ones that were supposed to really rock, they're already getting rejected. And usually what leads a market is what? The financial parts of it. So there's a couple things I would do here with like Baba and BidU for you guys that are asking about these names. The easiest thing to do is just watch the financial names. Like, do you break this level? Does this start to roll over? You start seeing stuff like this, like, do we break the 1222? Do we break the 55? I think there's stuff like that you could definitely watch, but like every single day they bid this thing up and every single day they've been closing it down since September. Like every day, all you have to do is come in at the open and sell it. And then by the end of the day, you're up in it. Like it's not once. It's been going on like this. It insists upon itself. So I do find that interesting about China. I don't know what to say. I think that you have to, like, this is how I always look at China. What are the A shares doing? The A shares are going up. That means mainland is buying into this. If mainland's buying into it, it's probably going to go until mainland says that's enough. So let's see how that goes. But right now they're buying into it. Good morning from Phoenix. I had a real tough time wrapping my noodle around that yesterday too. So I will trade what the market gives me. So I bought now yesterday when we were live, and I'll show you exactly what I did. The news hit. I'm like, this is fantastic news. So I bought it, and then I see this reversal. And then I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm out. Like, it should never even have broken. Never. This shouldn't have broken either. So, but when you see these reversal bars on key information, you have to ask yourself, like, how much is baked in, right? So if I was going to get back in this, or I was going to get back in the home builders, I'll tell you what's kept me out of like the most amount of trouble ever in as an investor. Like, if I could tell you one thing that like has always kept me out of trouble, Troy, it's like, all I have to do is this. This is where the news hit. All right. I want to know when the home builders get above where that news was, because that was positive news and we sold down. If I do something like that and don't really think about the trade until I'm back over the level where the news hit, because that's where the news hit, right? And that's the high of how we acted on that news. So if I can't get over that, see, that's like my target. So if I can't get over that, then I don't really have an interest. Now I might look at it and say, well, if nail is down at 82 to 92, well, I might have a trade there. Sure. But that's got to be my target, because this is where everybody's going to get out, because that's where all the volume is. And you can always see that by just doing things like this and looking at like vol profiles. And you'll see like the majority of it's going to be up here, right? I mean, down here too, like you probably should hold that point of control. You probably really shouldn't break that. Hopefully that helps. What's up, eh? So I own Fannie Mae. I saw this thing the other day where they're going to do like an ETF in it, a 2X ETF, like what could go wrong? The question really bodes how are they going to spin this off and how are they going to make the most money for the government off of it? And I really think that that's how you need to look at it. I don't have an answer to that yet, how they're going to do that. I really don't. I like it. And I think I think they're going to spin them off and I think people are going to make money. The question really always bodes like, how late are you to the party? I did trim these. I have a double in this and I trimmed it and I was up 50% in the other one. I think this one makes more sense because I don't think people are like, I got to fix these cameras. But you go back to when he took presidency, like here you are, $1.70 or something, right? When he became president, like that day. And, if you really thought about it and you thought it through that day, man, like that was the day. It was crazy when you really go back and look at it, FNMA. From that day, if you just went out there and, bought them then, it's absolutely insane what they've done. So I do think that, to look at that is to think that, yeah, it probably does continue. It probably does. So, I don't think there's much more to say about it than that, than just leave them alone and then just see how they go. I know a lot of people that buy this stuff. What they do is, they bought it and then when it doubled up here, they just closed a portion of it and just left the rest on forever. And then they'll just see how it goes and just play it by ear. Whenever they make. There's a bunch of ways to play it. Like now, what do you do? Well, everybody knows they're going public. We just don't know how and what price and how that's going to look. So we have those parts with it, but that's pretty much it. ZIM until it gets bought, there's really nothing to do with it. I don't think. Yeah, a couple of these look fantastic. So American Express looks like it's just going to rip everybody's head off. And it looks really good. So I see it. I like it. I don't think there's much more to say or to do there. And I truly don't. So I like that. If I go through it like cat, I get this. And I'm wondering if this is going to work because of the dollar. Like, did the dollar stabilize enough for this to work? Like, tries, fails, goes. Like, this is super interesting right here to just say, hey, I'm in this and I want to see if this is going to work. And just leave it alone. I think there's something to that. I really do. I like this. If you look at it on a weekly, it doesn't really get any cleaner. Here's your flagpole. Here's your flag. There's your breakout. Like, it doesn't really get much cleaner than that trade, does it? Oh, here's your old top. Test, held, rallies, test, held, new high. Like, it's pretty darn clean. Today's what, Wednesday, and you look at the volume, you're not above average, but if you look at this, on a daily basis, once that news hit and I think it's this, I'll tell you what I think it is. I really think it's the stabilization of the dollar. I think the way that they're going to raise or cut rates, is going to stabilize the dollar. I also don't think that yield's going to drop below 4% right now. So if you go and take a look at this, and I think that's adding stability to the market too. So I think it's that stability that's actually helping. And maybe they got ahead of themselves a little bit with the weakness of the dollar and the buying of the bonds. It seems that way, doesn't it? So, you start looking at where were we in 25 versus where are you now and how many rate cuts have you had? So from the peak at the beginning of the year to now, you're down 80 basis points. Everyone keeps talking about yield and we should be afraid. And I don't know, man. You're down 80 basis points. They cut once. EWW. I think there's a bunch of countries that look fantastic. I don't know that I would be all over Mexico, but Mexico scares me because of the political instability there. But thanks, John. From that standpoint, Mexico scares me a little bit. Let me just see something here while we're here. Yep. So let's see how this goes. I think there's other countries to look at that make so much more sense. I think that you've gotten your trade there, personally. What's up, John? AMSA. I'm going to have to jump here. I'm going to go through this super quick. Yeah, I'd really want to know what they do. But there's all these other little smaller companies like this. Like if you go back and look at some of this stuff, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And I think that this is the part that a lot of people are missing. Like this kind of stuff, you really want to understand what these companies are. Because there's these little companies like this. I call them little, and this thing's probably enormous. But, AMSC market cap. I look at this stuff and go like, $2 billion company. Let me just see something. Let's see if they can find it for me now quickly. Yeah, it's not a value play, that's for sure. So you're growing at 50%. Yeah, you're actually ramping up. Whose idea is this? You're actually ramping up, John. You've gone from 53% year-over-year growth to 60%, and now you're at 80%. So you're actually ramping up. Let me just see something. That's super interesting. I like this a lot, especially like this is your earnings bar, and then they wait for the news, and then that gets it through. They have a contract with the U.S. Navy. Ship protection systems, grid and utility. That's interesting. They're an energy tech company, manufactures and sells advanced power infrastructure, renewable energy sources, power electronics control systems, wind turbines. Oh, they're one of them communists with their winds. This is super interesting. Thanks, John. It's a great idea. I'm going to look at that. What's up, Josh? No. This RCAT, I don't get for the life of me. I don't get it. Did they do a secondary last night? Is that what I'm looking at? Okay, although I own, it's awesome. I'm just killing it with it. See that wick? The thing is, they make so much money. That's a joke. They have zero revenue. I'm trading a dream, man. Like there's no other way to say it. There goes Intel. Intel's going to be a monster trade. Long term, I really believe that. I really do. It's been a long time. It's been years since I've been excited to own Intel. In regards to OKLO, whether this thing is 18 or 800 does not matter. The only thing that matters is that they are putting money into those ETFs. And when that stops, this is going to stop. So far, it's not stopping. So I'm just riding the wave right now. And I've been riding it. You know, the other day it hit 90. When it flipped 90, I told the guys in the room, anything that hits 90 for the first time, there's a 70% chance historically that it goes to 100. So do what that want. Thanks, Jeff. So, you know, I used to read a lot of notional stuff on the markets. You know, it's funny because you do it so long, you forget what you know. But I used to read a lot of notional stuff on the markets. And, you know, one of the guys I've been talking to actually got me back into it. It's like looking at the notional stuff. I forgot how much value there was in it. I don't know. I thought I keep looking at this stuff and I keep looking at this too. Like I keep waiting for like this. Oh, we're going to start getting defensive now. Are we? Are we going to start getting defensive? Are we? Like, I don't know, bro. I mean, it's a really good question. I keep waiting for it. Even PM, I was up like $12 and I wound up blowing it out down just because I just don't want to own stuff, that I'm down in right now because I don't trust the market. If I had to tell you which one looks the most interesting out of all this stuff, it's like stuff like this. See how you've undercut, see where you are? Like this to me looks like it's completely washed out. And you start looking at these kinds of names down here, like that's just beautiful from a value standpoint. I mean, who doesn't need Clorox in the house, for God's sake? Everybody buys Clorox. So it's definitely worth paying attention to what he does. Did he buy that? Does he own 9% stake in it? It's definitely worth paying attention to if he's doing that. He knows something, or he's got his analysts on it. I mean, he doesn't really do it as much anymore, right? He's got all these guys at this point. When that came out last night, I guess. When did the vol kick in? Last night. I mean, clearly it leaked last night. If it wasn't announced last night. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, there it is right there. So, I mean, there's your level. It's right there. So you got to get above that 259. That's where they're selling. That's where they're selling. You got to get above that. That's an interesting idea. You got to get above that, dude. If you can't stay above 259. No, they're investing $5 billion in it. Mixed fine, thanks. It's only 853. Quad witching. It's not really quad witching anymore. We call it, but it's not. Morning. What's going on, Lynn? Just measure the percentage over. I think so. Yeah, I'm leaning that way. I think that whole trade's going to work, Stan. I think they're just going to go straight across the board with that trade from all the memory, storage, everything. That's what I think is going to happen there. I think it's going to be a dumpster fire, and then I think they buy it. I didn't see this. I didn't see this deal. Apparently they got a deal. Oh, XB's Brazilian financials. I keep seeing you guys talk about coin, so let's do it. I don't really have an interest in that. If I was to pick one, it'd be MSTR. But I think you're going to get so many of these. I think you're going to get so many of these now that you're going to have to give me a second here, guys. Oh. I think you're going to get so many of these like ETFs now. I bought this last night and I just blew it out this morning. That the crypto is going to benefit the most from it. That's what I think. There's too many here, guys. I got to jump. Oh, is that what it is? I don't even know for what. Is that what it is? Darn. That's what I'm saying. Why do they hate the birds, bro? I think it's going to, I actually think it's going to dilute them. Yeah, I do. I don't know that gold's going to pull back. I keep waiting for it. I mean, I'm at that fib level right here from that breakout. So I measured the base and there's your fib level. I think it might. I got to jump, guys. Trade to win.